What's good, everybody? It's the Clown with Cam show. College football week 4 honestly was fucking crazy to me. Oklahoma really lost to Mississippi State? Like, really? You know, not to mention Oklahoma, LSU lost. Like, what? You know, I really cannot believe what's going on in the sports world of college football. Yes, I know there's conferences finally coming back. Thank God. Thank God the NCAA really woke up and said, yo, look, we can really work around coronavirus. You know, we don't have to cancel the whole season. I mean, if the NFL can do it, why can't we do it, right? You know, that's probably what the NCAA was thinking. But starting off with Oklahoma, I really can't believe it. You guys lost. You guys were 27.5-point favorites against Kansas State. You guys lost? You know what? You know, honestly, I think it's well-deserved for Kansas State. You know, Oklahoma, I've said before that they should get a ban from the playoffs because every time they make the playoffs, they end up getting blown out and embarrassed. You know, so hey, good. Hey, shout out to Kansas State and shout out to their quarterback, Skylar Thompson. I was telling you about him. He had a breakout game, 334 yards. You know, and he ran for 3 touchdowns. Like, come on. Oklahoma, it's who they thought they were. Oklahoma has a lot of hype. You know, but at the end of the day, they always lose. They find a way to lose. You know, Oklahoma, your title shots are over. That's it, dude. It's lights out. That's it. Goodbye. You know, obviously, I think Ohio State or another Big Ten that goes undefeated should get in before Oklahoma does. You know, I think, honestly, let's be straight up here. Oklahoma should be out of the playoffs for good. You know, that was their shot. You know, Oklahoma, if you guys would have ran the table, yes, 100% you would have got your shot. But you guys lost to Kansas State. That's it. Peace out. You're done. Florida versus Ole Miss. I got this pick right. I picked Florida. They won barely, covered. 13.5. They won by 14 against Ole Miss. Kyle Trask, the quarterback I was telling you about at Florida, last year had over almost 3,000 yards passing. Well, this game, he had 416 yards passing with 6 touchdowns. Crazy. You know, these numbers in college are getting crazy, but look, you know, Florida played Ole Miss. It wasn't like they were playing, you know, a mag school or a school that really many people have not heard of. You know, as like Alabama, you know, Clemson, they open up with these teams that no one's heard of. You know, but yeah, Florida, they are playing. You know, Florida's not playing. And the way Florida's playing right now, Florida Gators, 100% they can make the playoffs. Obviously, they got to win the big games. Dude, I'm telling you, the way they beat Ole Miss and the way their quarterback Kyle's playing, the sky's the limit for Florida Gators. And that's really scary. Because when you have Florida Gators and a great quarterback, as we know, the legendary Tim Tebow, when you have good quarterbacks at Florida, you tend to win national championships. I would love to see Florida run deep. Then we had Kentucky versus Auburn. Auburn was 7.5-point favorites. They won. I picked them. They cleared Kentucky. I told you to do that. Then UCF versus East Carolina. I picked UCF, but they did not cover. I was telling people to go the money line on this, because 27 is a lot. 27 to win by 27 over 27 points, that's a lot. I don't care if it's college football or NFL. That is a super lot. But look, you know, they won UCF. And as we see UCF in the past, they're a great program. They're at least a 10-win program. I just want to see their program schedule harder games. I want you to play Clemson or Bama, you know, a big-time school, to see where you match up. Because I believe if UCF plays a team like Clemson, and say they do beat Clemson and go undefeated all their games and beat Clemson, they deserve to be in the playoffs. You know, we're talking UCF, a smaller school here. So I think there's hope for small schools to get into the playoffs, you know, which is well-deserved. Georgia Southern versus Louisiana. I picked Louisiana. They obviously did not cover 11.5. They only won by 2, barely. You know, but look, you know, the money line, I'm telling you, the money line in college football is where it's at. You know, because obviously these spreads are way bigger, right? You know, but yeah, like I'm telling you, Louisiana really did it. 51 was the under in this game, 51.5. It was the under. It was under, and a lot of these games that we're seeing are going under, except obviously Oklahoma went over 61. Yeah, same thing with Florida. They went over 57. UCF over 77. Crazy. The over-unders are crazy. Those are for pros. I'm not really smart with the over-unders because it's just so iffy. You just don't know how teams are going to come out and play. You can kind of get a sense of urgency. But at the end of the day, it's really hard to go with the over-under. Then we had Louisville versus Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was 3-point favorites. They won by 3, so that was a clear bet. But look, Pittsburgh won. Louisville, obviously they lost to the U the week prior to playing Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh won, got it done. It was 55.5 was the over-under. It was obviously the under in that situation. Then, like I said, LSU losing to Mississippi State. 57 was the over-under, went over. It's crazy. First time, I want to say, since the 78, I believe, since the defending national champion lost the opening game. LSU, welcome to the club, dude. I cannot believe it. LSU's like, man, I wish we had Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's probably like, dude, I'm kind of glad I'm in Cincinnati, dude. It sounds crazy, right? Cincinnati sucks. But seriously, there's still bright side with Cincinnati and Joe Burrow. But to LSU, I can't believe it, dude. Mississippi State's quarterback threw for 5 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions, and 623 yards. Castillo's his name. Dude, he's going to be reckoned with. 623 yards on LSU? Like, what? Mississippi State just came out of nowhere, and if Mississippi State runs their whole schedule 100%, they might be a number 1 seed going in. I'm telling you, the way they embarrassed LSU, not only were they 16.5-point underdogs, they won, I believe, by 10 points. 16.5-point underdogs. And I was a sucker, no doubt. I said LSU's going to win this game. I love LSU in this pick. Obviously I was dead wrong. This whole weekend with my picks from college to NFL has been fucked up, dude. I'm telling you, it's been an off week. But, hey, it's how you bounce back. But, for LSU, hey, I honestly, it's the first game. There's still some bright side with LSU. If LSU runs the table, wins the SEC championship, I believe they could squeak into that 3 or 4 seed in the playoffs, no doubt. But it's all W's from here on out. That's the only bright side for LSU really is, yes, you lost the first game instead of you losing the last game of the season, right? Because we know if you would have lost the last game of the season, that's it. As for this, you still have some light here. So for LSU, we can't just say, hey, LSU's done, that's it. No, I don't believe that. It's not the same situation as Oklahoma because we saw what Oklahoma does when they go to the playoffs. They're done, dude. LSU I still think has a little shot there, but just because, and also because they're in the SEC, okay? This is big time here. Oklahoma, they're done, dude. I don't want to hear anything about Oklahoma anymore, okay? You guys lost to Kansas State. That's that. Then we have Texas versus Texas Tech. 70.5 was the over-under. It went over. Dude, I can't believe this, dude. Sam Ehlinger, their Texas quarterback, senior, he had 262 yards with 5 touchdowns and only 1 interception. He got the job done. I'm telling you, Texas is dangerous too. If Texas runs the table, which they should beat Oklahoma this year. If Oklahoma loses to Kansas State, you should beat Oklahoma. Because if Texas does not beat Oklahoma, Texas, you guys are out of the playoffs as well. Straight up. Texas, you guys have to go undefeated. No questions about it. I love where Sam and Texas is playing right now. They're playing with pride. They're playing with passion, and I love that about certain programs. And I'm telling you, Texas Longhorns, could they be the Texas Longhorns when Vince Young beat USC in the Rose Bowl? Who knows? Probably not, but hey, there's some bright side. There's a bright future for Texas right now. Then we had Army versus Cincinnati. 45 was the over-under. It went under. Cincinnati, I picked Cincinnati. They won. Yeah, obviously, they played Army. They won kind of soundly, not like a blowout win. But still, they got the cover barely. They barely covered. Shout out to Cincinnati, got the win. Then we had West Virginia versus Oklahoma State. Yes, this was my upset pick of the week. I really thought West Virginia, Garrett, and those guys, the way they were running the ball, I really thought they would handle Oklahoma State, but that clearly wasn't the issue. Okay, Oklahoma State had their way with them, and they covered. 6.5 was the over under, or excuse me, was the spread in that one, not the over under, was the spread, and I got that. Oklahoma State. Obviously, I got that pick wrong, but Oklahoma State won. You know, I'm telling you, yeah. And their running back, he had 27 carries for 93 yards and 1 touchdown. You know, they were running all over West Virginia. It's not the West Virginia that we're used to seeing back in the day. It's really not, but shout out to Oklahoma State. Then we had Georgia versus Arkansas. I picked Georgia. They were 28-point favorites. They did not cover this game against Arkansas. The over-under was 53. It was the under. Georgia, look, Bennett, their quarterback, he went 20 for 29, 211 yards passing with 2 touchdowns. Look, Georgia, another SEC school. They're ranked 4th in the country. Obviously, if they run the table, but look, it's hard to run the table in the SEC. Let's be honest. Any team that runs a table, say it's Mississippi State or say it's Georgia or Bama, whatever school that goes undefeated in the SEC, no doubt, automatic bid in the playoffs. Scratch it, mark it, they're in. 100%. But like I said, Georgia, they're gonna have to play Bama. You know, can they beat Bama? You know, it's always been a nemesis. I mean, straight up, Georgia, you know, in history, you have not been able to hammer Bama in the past 10 years. You know, so wake up and smell the coffee. You got to win the big game. You know, Arkansas, you know, kind of a good team, but not the best SEC school right now. Okay, but shout out to Georgia. Then we have Bama versus Mizzou, Mizzou. They did not cover. Bama was 27.5-point favorites. They did not cover. 56 was the over and under. Okay, but look, dude, Bama is who we thought they were. Mac Jones, their quarterback, he had 247 yards passing with 2 touchdowns. Weddle, he had 8 receptions, 134 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. And then their running back, Harris, he had 17 carries for 98 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's the Alabama that we know. They like to throw the ball, and they also like to run and control the clock. That's who Alabama is. Shout out to Harris. Like I said, 17 carries and 98 yards with 3 touchdowns. Wow. You know, Alabama running backs are always the best in the country. You know, if not the best, top 3 in the country. No doubt, Bama's who I thought they would be. You know, they're a powerhouse. Obviously, can Bama win a national championship? You know, Nick Saban, this is his 3rd year. Well, you know, ever since 07, he's always won, at least in 3 years. So, to me, this is the year for Bama. Are you guys going to win? It's definitely a big question mark in college football today. You know, with everything going on, with conferences coming back, you know, you just don't know. Vanderbilt versus Texas A&M. I picked Texas A&M. They did not cover here. It was clearly a low-scoring game. The 46.5 was the over-under. Went under. Like I said, Texas A&M did not cover here. Isaiah Splitter, he had 8 carries for 117 yards. That was Texas A&M's basically biggest difference with players on their field was their running back play. Over 117 yards. That's the difference right there. Texas A&M got the win, but they really didn't blow them out like I thought they should be. You know, Texas A&M will not make it to the playoffs. I'll tell you that right now, the way they've been playing. Now, Florida State versus the U. The U, man, I'm telling you, the U is back, I believe. I believe the U is back from the early 2000s where they're going to hit you in the face, where they're going to make you hurt. You know, from the early 90s and 80s, it's hard to, you know, compare, teams to the 80s and 90s of the U. Obviously, the U really originated in the 80s. That's when they became the U. You know, but I really think this team right now, Miami University, they got something special going. King, their quarterback, he was 29 for 40, 267 yards passing. 2 touchdowns. He also had 65 rushing yards as well as a quarterback. Dude, I'm telling you, I like this kid. I like their players. I like their running back, Harris. I like where they're going here. Cameron Harris, you know, I just like the whole U, the way they're showing out right now. They're telling me right now the U is for real. They are serious, and they're a team to watch out for. Because if the U goes undefeated, no doubt they're in. You know, we want to see the U back in the playoffs, right? We want to see the U in the national championship, right? I feel like that's the best for college football, dude. You know, when you have the U in there, it's just it's the cream. It's the cream of the sugar. It's the top. The cream always rises to the top, and I want to see the U come back there. Then we got Tennessee versus South Carolina. Tennessee was 3.5-point favorites. I got that pick right. They barely won. I believe they won by 4. Garrett G, their quarterback, he had 19 for 31. He went 19 for 31, 259 yards passing and 1 touchdown. Josh Palmer, the receiver, he had 6 receptions for 85 yards and 1 touchdown. Look, Tennessee, great game, but dude, you guys got a rough schedule coming up. NC State versus Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech clearly won. They beat the odds. The 7 was the spread here. The over-under was 57. I got the over right. It was over 57. Same thing with the Tennessee-South Carolina game. 43.5 was the over-under. They went over. Virginia Tech, they got the dub. Troy versus BYU. BYU was 14-point favorites. They won. BYU's quarterback, Zach Wilson, who I was telling you about, is a baller. He went 23 for 28, 392 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. Hey, Zach Wilson, he's a kid to be reckoned with. Watch his name. I feel like he could go to the next level at some point. But going back to the U, what I'm saying is with the U, if they go undefeated, they are in. No doubt about it. Obviously they got some teams coming up. But look, I love what the U's doing. Obviously Florida State, they're not the same team. They're not. They just fell off. That's that. Florida State, you're done. But the biggest surprise to me, it wasn't the LSU game. Yes, it was a really surprise, obviously, because they're defending national championships. But really surprised me was the Oklahoma-Kansas State game. Oklahoma lost. That's it, dude. That's it. Oklahoma should not even get in the 4 seed. I'd rather have another SEC one-loss team come in before Oklahoma does. So Oklahoma's over. They really surprised me, and obviously LSU losing, dude. Defending national championships, and they lost. I cannot believe it, but it's college football, baby. We got conferences coming back. Let's go!